Hello, my dear student. How are you doing? Good? Fantastic. Did I clean up everything behind me? I hope so. It doesn't look too messy. Why do I say this? Because I'm not in my usual location in the Profe Kyle headquarters. No, I'm in the kitchen. I'm in the kitchen because in today's simple English video, I want to show off. I want to show off my produce. What's produce? Produce is a word that we use to describe fruits and vegetables. And right now in Canada, it is harvest time. It's September. It's turning into the fall. This is when we harvest everything. Fruits, vegetables, grains. Now, I'm not a farmer, even though I like to joke around that I'm a farmer when I harvest, when I collect the things that I've grown. Now, being honest with you, I don't have a lot of experience gardening and growing things. But I came back home to Canada this year and I wanted to do it. I like being in nature. I like growing things. It's just something inside of me. Probably because all of my ancestors were farmers. Even though I think most people's ancestors were farmers. But in my case, particularly, all of my great-grandparents lived on a farm, from what I know. So I like to grow things. It's something I like to do. And this year was the first time I've had time to grow things. So I grew a few things. And I'm going to show you the gardens at the end of this video. But for now, I just want to show you some of the things that I grew this year. Now, my favorite fruits are berries. I love berries. Those little tiny fruits filled with flavor and juiciness, and they say lots of antioxidants, which helps keep you young. At least that's what some people say, and I think some medical professionals. So who knows, maybe that's why I look so good. Oh, and if you hear some sounds when I'm showing you all this stuff, the dryer is drying the clothes right now, and the dishwasher is washing the dishes. So hopefully there's not too much interference with the microphone. But yes, my favorite fruits are berries. And my favorite fruit out of all the fruits in the world is the raspberry. I love raspberries. Now this is a frozen raspberry, so obviously it doesn't look that delicious. But I can't eat all the raspberries in one day, so I've frozen a big bag of raspberries that I grew in my raspberry patch. And it was a lot of fun because during all of, most of July, every day I would go to the raspberry patch and I would pick about, one cup of raspberries. So this cup was filled with raspberries. And I would eat some, and I would put others in yogurt to make a yogurt parfait. And I wasn't the only one. My mom and my girlfriend, they also did the same thing. So there were a lot more raspberries than this in my raspberry patch, but we ate a lot of them already. So those are the frozen ones. That's one thing that I grew this year, was raspberries. The next thing I have here, I have a row of things that I want to show you. Next thing I have here is a berry that you can only find in Canada and the United States. I don't think you can find it really anywhere else in the world, and it's a very important berry. It was used by the indigenous peoples before the arrival of the Europeans for nutrients, for something to eat. So it's a very important berry. And this is called the Saskatoon. In the United States, I believe they call it the service berry or the June berry. But here in Canada, we call it the Saskatoon berry. Now this berry is actually not related to blueberries, because you look at it and you think, oh, it looks like a blueberry. But no, normally blueberries are very low bushes. They grow very close to the ground. The Saskatoon bush, for me, is more of a tree, but I think technically it's a bush, grows really high. I don't know, maybe let's say maybe 4 meters high, 4 meters high. And it grows in clumps, kind of like grapes, at least the Saskatoons that we have. I can't show you a video or a picture. Well, maybe I could find a picture on the internet, but I can't show you a picture of ours because it's September now and we don't have any fresh Saskatoons. They're all shriveled up, old, and yeah, they're gonna rot slowly. Most of the time in the fall and the winter, the birds and the bears will eat the Saskatoons for food. But anyways, I didn't plant these. I live in a forest and these Saskatoon bushes grow naturally. And we have a lot of them. And so, like I did with the raspberries, I made a bag of frozen Saskatoons. Saskatoons are good. If you want to know what the flavor is like, I would say the flavor is kind of like a mix between blueberry and almond. Blueberry and almond. And they have a really big seed, not huge seeds. They're seeds that you can eat. It's not like a cherry. It's not like, I don't know, a peach. Like, you can eat the seeds, but they are bigger seeds compared to, for example, a blueberry. And where was what I was talking about? Oh yes, so yes, Saskatoons. There are a lot of them here. Get them from the trees. So I never planted these bushes. I just walk into the forest. And at the end of July, beginning of August, they're ready to pick. So I could have picked more. I didn't, because if you ask me what we use them for, well, you can eat them. Again, like I said, the flavor is a mix between a blueberry and an almond. They're good. At the same time, you know, they're not as delicious as a store-bought blueberry, for example. So for us, my mom, she'll make desserts out of it. This year, I tried to make Saskatoon juice out of it, and then I froze it in cubes so I can make smoothies in the future, because I love berry smoothies, whether it's raspberry, blueberry, strawberry. And here we have Saskatoons, even though I think Saskatoon technically isn't a berry. I don't even know if strawberries are technically a berry. But anyways, I love berry smoothies, so I can easily make smoothies from the Saskatoon juice cubes that I froze, which are in another bag. Now, I wouldn't put these Saskatoons directly into a blender because the seeds. So if you try to blend it, it doesn't have a good texture when you drink it, so you don't want to do that. All right, enough about that. Another, I guess this is a cherry that grows wild in the forest, is this one right here. And I picked this one today. Here's my berry scoop, right? And I picked these ones today, and these are called chokecherries. Yeah, chokecherries right there. I don't know if you can see them very good. I don't think the camera focused. Now, chokecherries are very sour. They are very sour fruit, and when you eat them, it leaves a bit of an aftertaste on the tongue, which isn't a bad thing. I think some people might find it unpleasant. I kind of like it, but most of the time here, this is a very common type of wild cherry here in Canada. Most of the time, people don't eat them. The seed is one big seed in the middle, like a regular cherry, and you can't eat it. And there's not a lot of flesh around the seed, so it's not a very enjoyable cherry to eat. So most of the time, what we do here is we turn to chokecherry syrup. right? So syrup that you can use on pancakes, waffles. What else can you use syrup on? Yeah, mostly pancakes and waffles. Who knows, maybe you could use it in yogurt as well to give it a little bit more flavor. So basically you boil the choke cherry, you get out the juice, you add sugar to it, and you boil the sugar for a while until the liquid becomes very thick, like syrup, and voila, you have choke cherry syrup. And honestly, with most of the berries here in Canada, we make a lot of jams and syrups out of them. So we can make jam out of raspberries, we can make jam out of Saskatoons, we could probably also make syrup. Now with choke cherries, almost always it's syrup. All right, so those are the berries that I grew. Right. There's another berry in the garden, but I'll show you that when we go to the garden. What else did I grow? Roma tomatoes. So I grew, and they're still growing right now. So lots of Roma tomatoes. These are more, I think, like heirloom tomatoes. These ones are green ones. They will slowly become red. Vegetables don't really get me excited, even though I dried some cherry tomatoes that I grew. And I use these cherry tomatoes in the dried cherry tomatoes. I made it in a bread. And oh, this bread is so good. I'm telling you, delicious. So I do like tomatoes. I believe some people say tomatoes are an inflammatory fruit vegetable, but they're so delicious. So I have a lot of tomatoes, lot of tomatoes, and I don't know what to do with them all. I might make some tomato paste. I might make some tomato sauce. With the tiny cherry tomatoes, I'll probably keep on drying them out and making bread out of them because the bread is delicious. All right, what else do I got here? Oh, I thought I finished with the berries, but I didn't. I lied. One more berry that I grew. Now this is something that we did plant. This isn't wild, even though it might be wild in some parts of Canada. And this, frozen again, so it doesn't look that good, but this is a Haskap berry. I believe the Haskap berry is originally from Russia, Siberia to be exact, but because it grows so well in colder climates, they brought it to Canada, and I think by the United States, but especially Canada because Canada is a cold country, and they started breeding it and improving it, and now you get these really big juicy Haskap berries. Haskaps are very sour berry. Most of the time people are going to make jam out of them, but you could also just eat them fresh, even though again they're a little bit sour, so you have to make sure that they are completely ripe if you want them to be really sweet, because if you pick them a little bit early, they're very sour. All right, and the last thing I have, no, I think there's two more things here. Other thing that we grew, I picked these today, so these are from today. Potatoes. These are some small potatoes. I don't really know what they are. To be honest, I didn't plant these. My brother-in-law planted them, but he's not here right now, so I picked them and I watered them for a few weeks. So I'm gonna say that they're mine now. We're gonna eat them. He's not here right now, so we're eating the potatoes. So yeah, we grew some potatoes. Look just like that. Not much to say about potatoes. Potatoes are a good thing to have, easy to cook into many different things. Mashed potatoes, baked potatoes, boiled potatoes, French fries, scalloped potatoes. There's many types of potatoes, hash browns. So potatoes are very versatile. So thank you to the Peruvians for creating the potato for the world, because I can say that we do appreciate it. And I think the last thing I want to show you here in the kitchen before I take you to the garden is I grew some cucumbers. We grew two types of cucumbers. Again, this is actually my brother-in-law's, I think. Yeah, this is actually a pickling cucumber. One second. If you don't know what pickle is, I better show you what it is. So here in the fridge, where is it? Pickles. We don't have any pickles? I can't believe it. I can't believe that. Well, maybe I'll show you something else then. What should I use? Well, something like this. So these are olives, but they're olives. I think this is vinegar. So we do the similar thing with pickling cucumbers. So actually, this is a really big pickling cucumber. It shouldn't be this big. Normally, you want them to be, probably about this size. This is a better size for a pickling cucumber. This is a pretty good size too. When they're too big, well, just it's hard to fit them in a jar like this. So yeah, pickling cucumber. I haven't made pickles into them. I don't know how to do it. Again, I didn't plant them. My brother-in-law did, and my sister is the one that knows how to make pickled cucumbers. We make it with dill. Dill is something I'm growing outside. Maybe I can show you in this video. And put some garlic in there too, and it tastes delicious. And yeah, this, when it's in vinegar like this, it lasts forever, more or less. So yeah, one of my favorite things when I was a kid was eating pickles. And yeah, I think that's about it for now. Let's go outside. Let's do it. Outside. This is a pretty big place, so there's kind of little mini gardens everywhere. We're not a super gardening family, so don't expect anything incredible. If you hear whining, it's from my dog. He whines whenever I'm outside. That's how much he loves me. Okay, little mini garden right here. We see here. Can't really see right there, but there's some eucalyptus, but it didn't seem to really grow that well. Here are the two Roma tomato bushes that I planted. Again, this is my first year gardening. They should be better supported, but for now, this is what I have. Over here, we have some herbs. Here is the dill, which we use with the cucumbers to pickle them, and it tastes really good. One of the favorite flavors of Canadians is dill. Here we have some basil. Over there, that is a rosemary. I don't know what to use rosemary for. Use more basil. I did have some oregano here, but it died, so I failed at that. Now, if we go over here, we have some sunflowers that I planted. I planted some beans here, but the beans did not grow so well. And here I have two pumpkins growing. Looks like the one pumpkin is almost ready. The other one still needs to ripen a bit more. Over there, some more sunflowers, and that's the, how would you call it? The main base of the pumpkin. So basically the pumpkin grew from there all the way to here. All right, let's turn this baby around. Okay, now I'm gonna go down to the other garden. Let's go for a bit of a walk. Gonna hear a goat making lots of noise because goats are really good at making noise. I'm not a big fan of goats, but my mom loves goats a lot. Now, the place I'm going to right now is my main garden. This is the garden that I made to plant my things. It's my pride and joy. Now you're gonna get to see it, an exclusive look. All right, we've arrived. So quick tour. The garden. So right here I got some corn growing. I think the corn is almost ready. Almost ready to harvest. You see it right there. Over here is my beloved raspberry patch. So all the raspberries are from here. And as long as the goats aren't allowed to enter, the raspberries are fine. But if you let the goats enter through a hole somewhere, they will absolutely destroy your raspberry patch. All right, we got some more sunflowers here. Big sunflower right here. Little tiny sunflower right here. This right here is rhubarb. I believe this is also something else originally from Siberia. And with rhubarb, this is its first year growing, so you're not supposed to harvest it in its first year. But with rhubarb, you take the stalk is right there. The leaf and the roots are poisonous, so you don't eat them, but you eat the stalk. Now, stalk is a little bit sour, but if you put sugar on top of it, it tastes pretty good. And the most common thing to do with it is to make pies, especially strawberry and rhubarb pie is really good. My father loves strawberry rhubarb pie. All right, here you can see a strawberry plant, strawberry plant, strawberry plant, strawberry plant, strawberry plant, strawberry plant. So lots of strawberry plants. I love strawberry. I love berries, as you already know. So we got quite a few strawberry plants. Over here, this is a grape plant. There's another grape plant in that corner. And there's a grape vine. I should be saying vine right there. So no grapes this year. It's really hard to grow grapes in the north, but there are grape varieties which grow in the north. So hopefully in a few years, I'll get some grapes. We'll see. I planted 2 trees. This is a cherry tree. And this is another cherry tree, but I think it might have died. Hopefully not. Hopefully next year it will get leaves and it'll keep on growing, but it lost its leaves about 1 month ago, so I think it could be dead. Hopefully not. And I think that's, and this is the Haskap bush, and there's another Haskap bush right there. So 2 Haskap bushes. And here, there was a row of carrots. There was a row of carrots. And I think right about here was a row of beets. I didn't show you the beets, but I did grow beets. And yes, that more or less is the garden. As for the Saskatoons and the Chokecherries, well, that is the forest. So if you go into the forest, you can find all the Chokecherries and the Saskatoons. Final part of this video, I have another garden. I didn't make this garden. This was the garden that my brother-in-law made, but he's not here right now. So I've been taking care of it, even though there are some things here that I planted, but nothing too exciting. So let's take a quick tour. So got the tomatoes growing right here. Right there are some bean vines. This is the lettuce. Starting to create seeds now. Before it was lower, but now it's making seeds. Got some more corn. The corner in which I'm standing in, I just harvested the potatoes. So there were potatoes in here, but not anymore. Here are beets, but I'm just gonna leave them because they're not very big beets. They didn't grow very good here. A lot of shade. Well, not the best place to grow things. Over here, a whole bunch of onions. There is a cucumber. Over there were some more potatoes. Over here, more cucumber. This is like the regular long cucumber. That is more the pickling cucumber. This is just all waste from the garden. But before, there were carrots here. And here are the cherry tomatoes. They go a little bit closer. Cherry tomatoes in there. There are some radishes here, horseradish. And yeah, that is everything that I grew in 2024. So I planted almost everything in May of 2024. And I harvested in July, August, and September. And of course, the chokecherries, the Saskatoons, those are in the forest. And I pick those in July, August. Oh, chokecherries, end of August. And I hope you enjoyed this video, me showing you things that we grow here in Canada in the summertime. It's gonna slowly, quickly become the fall here. And when that happens, you can't grow anything because it's too cold. And then in the winter, the snow comes, it's completely white. This place changes a lot in just a few months. So we only have maybe 4 months that we can grow here in Canada. So we have to take advantage of it. And that's it for now. If you have any questions about the vocabulary that I used during this video, don't be afraid to ask me questions down below. And if you want to see other simple English videos, then check out these videos here. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video, my dear student. Bye.